It's time now to take a look through the international papers with Alison Sargent. Hi, Alison.
Hi, Axie.
We're going to start in the UK with reactions to Theresa May's surprise announcement yesterday that she is calling for a snap election on June the 8th.
That's right. This was a big U-turn, and whether it's a good surprise or a bad surprise really depends on where you stand politically. We can see conservative papers are pretty gleeful today about this new plot twist. The paper, the Daily Mail, actually has quite a menacing front page. They say, in a stunning move, Miss May calls bluff of the game-playing Ramoners with a snap election and vows to crush the saboteurs. You can see it has a close-up shot of Theresa May looking a little bit threatening there. Meanwhile, the Centre Conservative Times is much more measured on their front page. May heads for a landslide election. Tories have a significant lead over the Labour Party in the polls, and the Times says she is on course to win a huge parliamentary victory. There's also a cartoon, though, that you can catch a glimpse of on that front page that is far less measured. It compares Theresa May to the Turkish president, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who just won a contested victory in a referendum, vastly increasing his powers. That sword she's holding there says power grab. So they're two different suits, but they seem to be the same card for this cartoonist, a bold comparison. Both leaders there are trying to increase their hold on power.
I'm not sure May will be particularly happy with that one, but May says that early elections will help bring about stability to the country, but it seems timed to do maximum damage to the Labour Party too.
Yeah, many newspapers today are wondering if this is not going to bring about the death of the Labour Party. That's in large part because of the unpopularity of its leader, Jeremy Corbyn. You can see him pictured in the left-wing paper, The Independent, today. The paper says the Labour Party could face annihilation if its polling does not improve. As things are going now, it's set to see its worst results since 1935. And in its editorial today, The Guardian, which is a centre-left paper, says very plainly that May is calling for these elections, quote, solely because she thinks this is a good time to crush Jeremy Corbyn's Labour Party. The paper also says, though, that this is bad news for Brexit negotiations because it could give Theresa May a blank check to negotiate what would likely be a very hard Brexit.
Now, Alison, regardless of the outcome, it's the second time voters will be going to the polls in the past year, and some people are just tired of it, aren't they?
They are. There's a big sense of voter fatigue in the newspapers today. Here we go again. That's on the front page of the Eastern Daily Press. That's a local paper from Norwich, which is in the east of the UK. There's also a cartoon by Matt in the Daily Telegraph that speaks to this. We see a canvasser there doing his rounds, and the guy who answers the door is saying, look, we have to stop meeting like this.
So we're going to move away now from the UK to Venezuela. The opposition is planning a massive protest today against the government of Nicolas Maduro.
Yeah, and there's a lot of anxiety about these protests. Human rights observers are worried about seeing big clashes with police. The army has been out patrolling the streets already since Monday, and there's worry that that could also dissuade some protesters. The opposition, though, says people are so fed up with the government, they're determined to go out on the streets regardless of a heavy police presence. RFI, our sister radio station, says that people are really fearing for the worst today. Meanwhile, the Venezuelan opposition newspaper El Nacional reports that in just the past 15 days, the government has arrested 35 people. They also remind us that already in April, there were 5 protesters who were actually killed in clashes with the police, and 538 other people were arrested. So the paper says that all of those detained also during protests are treated by the government as terrorists.
So finally from you, the international press is increasingly looking towards France as the election draws ever closer.
That's right. The United States, at least, is finally starting to wake up to the French election, possibly with the help of the comedian John Oliver. It's the most important, disturbing, and dangerous election yet, according to the Daily Beast. They say the insane French elections could screw us all. They say analogies are misleading, but that doesn't stop them from making a couple of analogies. They compare Marine Le Pen to Donald Trump and Jean-Luc Mélenchon to Bernie Sanders. And they ultimately pin their hopes, though, on the centrist Emmanuel Macron. They say if he fails or falters, the barbarous nationalism will be at the gates of France.
Alison Sargent, thank you very much for that update of what the international papers are saying today.